Hi everyone, and welcome to Wired for Power. I'm your host, Rock Brisbois, and today's guest is Mr. Jadi Sheikh, a real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. Hello, Jadi. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. What about you?
Oh, very well. Can't complain. So let's get right into it, shall we? Tell me a bit about yourself. Like, how did you get started in real estate?
I started probably about 25 years ago. I started more of as an admin side of things, doing all the paperwork, all the transactions, and all the work that nobody sees that's going on. Mm-hmm. And then the agent I was working with said, go get your license. You'd be good at it. And it's been 21 plus years now. So kind of fell into it by accident.
And never looked back. Well, that's a good
Never
deal.
looked back.
So do you have a large team working with you right now, or are you mostly by yourself?
By myself. I've my business is, I've done some changes throughout the years. I've had a big team, small team. Mm-hmm. Then I had an admin, and now it's just solo agent. But I always have help if needed. So,
yeah. So with you're mostly working the East Ottawa market, right?
Yeah, focusing more on the east end of the city. Like I live in Rockland, so I do a lot of Rockland, Orleans. I can do the whole city, but it's just, you get to know the neighborhoods a little bit better and makes it a little bit easier.
A couple of listings in Ottawa and all that, so that's good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So mostly east of the city is where I mostly focus.
I have a question of actually one thing I was really curious about with the threat of tariffs right now between Canada and the United States. Is that going to affect, do you think that's going to affect house prices at all in the area?
I mean, the good and the bad thing about Ottawa is that we're kind of in our own little bubble where everything that happens kind of outside in the country doesn't affect us a whole lot.
Because we're kind of a government town, right? So
yeah, it's a government town, so it's pretty good. The only thing is that people right now are kind of, not that they're on the sideline just waiting to see what's going to happen. I think with everything, right? So
yeah, even in my industry right now, in terms of sales for standby generators and all that, it's really, really flattened out, especially over the last 3-4 months. I think everybody's a little bit worried, and everybody's kind of a wait and see attitude right now, and what's going to be happening. So
yeah, and I think that's what it is, right? It's everybody's kind of on the sideline, wait and see what's going to happen. How is it going to affect the interest rates, the market, the prices? It's the uncertainty.
So have you seen a lot of shifting happen, like with home buyers since post-pandemic? Like, have things been a lot different now that after the pandemic?
It's a little bit different. I mean, people are a little bit more cautious. We're still seeing the odd multiple offer here and there, but I think we're seeing buyers are a little bit more informed. They know a little bit more. They do their research a little bit more. But if it's the right house, the right place, right time, there's still people are still buying houses.
Yeah, especially more now that I think the prices have calmed down quite a bit. I know for a while, a couple of years ago, it went a little crazy in the city, but everything's calmed down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for first-time home buyers? Because I know it's a big stress, right? Buying your first house and all that. And I remember me many years ago when I was doing that. In terms of, I think for getting prepared was a little bit difficult because I don't think I had all my ducks in order when we started looking at houses, all that. So do you have any things that young couples or first-time home buyers and self should have in line?
Yeah, to me, I think the biggest thing is, get pre-approved before you do anything. Because a lot of times, like, I want to go buy a house, I think I have a down payment. I've used these online pre-approvals, but, talk to a mortgage broker, talk to your bank, get the answers you need before doing anything. And then, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of things that happens when you're buying a house. So first thing is get pre-approved, know what you can afford. Because if you're approved up to $600, don't look at a $700,000 home. There's a difference between a $700,000 home and a $600,000 home. Mm-hmm. So pre-approval is the most important part. And then second thing is sit with a real estate agent. Yeah. Right? Just have a conversation. It doesn't mean that if you sit with a realtor that you're going to have to hire them, but find out exactly what the process is. It's more than just, let's go look at open houses or look at homes and then we write an offer. There's a lot more involved than just, doing that. So
yeah, there's a lot more DIY out there right now for home buyers and a lot. And I find sometimes, working with a realtor definitely has its upside for sure.
For sure. I mean, and again, just a lot of things have changed in our industry is that now, you have to have, I can't just show you everybody houses. We have to talk to you about, being represented by a realtor,
Mhm.
right? And again, just have those conversations about how the process works.
Okay. Any common mistakes you see buyers making over and over when shopping for a home?
Uh, Sometimes people focus more on the interest rate
Mm.
than what they can afford.
I always thought it was a good idea to go to a broker as opposed to going to a bank because you get a lot more options that way.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other kind of
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean if you go to an independent mortgage broker, they might have different products that might fit a little bit better what you need.
Mhm.
Big banks are great, but sometimes an independent mortgage broker will be able to give you similar product or sometimes better product. So find out what's best for you at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
If you're approved, the money makes sense, and you're not going to be eating crap dinner every night.
Yeah,
Why not do it,
that's
right?
kind of important too. Eh?
Yeah, you got to be able to, just because you can afford, the bank or the mortgage broker says you can afford to buy a $700,000 home, doesn't mean that your lifestyle is going to match that.
Well, these are all things you have to take in consideration for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
and again,
you have this,
sitting down with a realtor to sitting down with a mortgage broker and then sitting down with a realtor.
that makes a lot of sense. So tying
Yeah.
in a little bit what I do, home standby generators. You have a lot of rural communities, obviously that you sell houses in and all that.
Yeah.
Do you, from your experience, do you see having a backup power generator on the house as a big selling point?
I think it's definitely a something that when buyers are looking at homes and they see it, it's like, oh, this is great, right? Because if something was to happen, then they have backup. They can still run the house. It's not such a big deal. Um, so it definitely is something that people are. It's an added bonus, but I don't think it's something that I don't remember having a buyer telling me I want to buy a house, but it has to have a backup generator.
And do you find it
Like
adds value to a home though,
I think
in
it
terms of
does.
pricing? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of, I think it's one of those things that, if you're looking at two homes, one has a backup generator and the other one doesn't. I think it's educating the consumer the real value of having a backup generator,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Having that, especially if you're away, for a couple of days or on a vacation or whatever, the, generator kicks in and then, everything kind of continues working, especially like you said, especially in a rural setting, your
Yeah.
sump pump. If your sump pump stops working, you can have a battery backup for the sump pump, but that battery backup is not going to last forever.
It's only good for so many hours. Yeah. Now, I was curious
That's
to
it.
ask you about it because you hear it from the manufacturer. Oh, yeah, install a standby generator in your home. It's going to add $25,000 to the value of your house. So, I mean, it's like anything else. If it's something somebody's looking for, something somebody wants, then for sure it's very enticing for them to get a house like that. But I know people are saying around between the 10 and 20,000 anyways, I heard. So,
Yeah, that'd be my guess as well, just because it's definitely like a nice to have because a lot of things are happening, and we especially in the eastern part of Ontario, like the big storms we've had and running out of power, and because it happens. It's not something that doesn't happen.
yeah, and I found them more like says obviously post pandemic things have changed a little bit and a lot, and there you have a lot more people working from home. So I know
That's right.
for us, especially right in the midst of the pandemic and all that, generator sales actually went up because these people that, especially in rural communities that were working from home, had to make sure their internet was up that they could actually do some work in the house. So for us, the trend actually we actually sold more generators during the pandemic than even I was surprised about that.
And it makes
So yeah.
sense, right? Because if you're spending more time at home, you can't just, oh well, run out of power and I'll wait till tomorrow to get into work. You still have to
Yeah,
get your
yeah,
work.
and it's funny for us. Like we used to only sell these like back. I've been doing generators for 22 years, and back 22 years ago, you'd sell these for people who had wells and sump pumps only. And now
Right.
we're installing these in the city, like in the suburbs and everywhere. So everybody seems to be, sort of trying to protect well, probably trying to protect their wages for the people that work from home, but also trying to protect their goods, their house, right? So we've seen the trend has gone up a little bit.
Yeah, and
Um,
you're right. We do see. more of these in the city.
Yeah. Is there any, in terms of solar, have you seen a lot of houses that deal with solar panels right now? Is that something it's trending more in Ottawa, or?
Uh, it's you see it here and there, but definitely not as often as you think we should.
Mhm.
And I know our private realtor kind of Facebook group, there's a lot sometimes of questions about, does it bring value and how much money does it generate and all these things. And the opinions are very divided,
Yeah.
right? Because of the maintenance, the cost, and the recovery,
Yeah,
right?
the initial cost is still so considerable, right? So it's something in terms of how much energy it actually produces as well.
That's
So we
right.
have a new product now that's basically a solar backup generator. So
Okay.
that's something we're looking at right now as well. But like I said, it's something it's in its infancy. Like it was more like a DIY thing before, right? So
Right.
people would get their parts from different places in the world and put it all together and all that. Now they're sold as kits, which makes a lot more sense and all that. But
Yeah.
still, for us, I mean, I've looked at there is a market for that, but it's still very, very small because I think people still aren't very educated on it. And like I said, it's ever changing so fast as well. So it's hard to keep up sometimes with the average homeowner for sure.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's like it changes so quickly, and the technology changes, and and sometimes people, they're afraid to invest in something like that. Well, is it going to be outdated in 3 to 5 years from now?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And not just that, you have to make sure it pays for itself as well after you invest
That's it.
that much money. And you want to always know what your ROI is going to be and all that. So it makes
Sure.
sense. So any other home upgrades you could recommend maybe for somebody who's trying to sell his house? Other like we talked about generators and solar and all that, but there's any different upgrades? Like, is it worth investing in, like I said, renovating your kitchen before you sell? Is it worth investing in a new HVAC system before you sell, for example?
Yeah, and those are all things that it's always a point of discussion, right? Because, do you put in a new furnace before you sell it,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes it's one of those things when people we're comparing homes. Like if you have a house that's, you got a brand new furnace, and then you have a house that still has the original furnace, we definitely see the increased value of a brand new furnace,
It
right?
doesn't mean
Because
you'll get more for the house, but it'll sell before the one that has an old furnace,
you'll
possibly.
probably also get more money though.
Yeah. Okay.
And these big ticket items like, roof, windows, furnace, AC, those are all things that, you need that to run the house. You can't say, oh, well, my furnace stopped working, so it's your problem. You figure it out.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's funny because I was looking for houses a long time ago, and I was always looking at, well, how old's the roof? I'm going to have to
Yeah.
change it eventually one day. So those are all good questions to ask, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. And because those are the big ticket items that, if they're at the end of their lives,
Mhm.
then you are spending the money in it.
Yeah, exactly. Sooner than later, absolutely. So those are
Yeah.
all things you have to consider. That makes a lot of sense. I was going to get into a little bit of personal stuff by you, so we get to know Jacques a little bit better. Well, do you have any hobbies or?
Yeah. I mean, if you see me online or if you follow me anywhere I go, it definitely is my Jeep is my big hobby. Like we enjoy, going jeeping, off-roading weekends and things like that. So it definitely is something that I started doing that maybe 6, 7 years ago and just totally enjoy it. Like if I could, I
Any
would go
horror
up.
stories? Did you get stuck at some point or?
Yeah, actually that big storm we had in Ottawa 3, 4 years ago,
Okay.
there was three of us. We're out in the Calabogie area, and then all of a sudden, like the guy behind me is like, "Hey, I think I'm going to put my top up because it looks like it's going to rain." So we stop. We all put our tops back up, and like 3 minutes later, the downpour, the rain was going sideways. The trees were
That was good
wavering back
timing
and
then.
forth. Yeah. So and we had no idea what was going on. So we stopped, and then 5, 10 minutes once it was done, I was like, okay, let's keep on going. But we couldn't see the trail anymore. So we turned around and say, well, we'll just head back because we thought maybe, well, the trail is shut down or whatever. But going back was just as bad. Like we ended up having to leave our Jeeps in the forest
Oh,
overnight.
really? Okay.
But it was just funny because like,
Would you guys hike out of there or?
we had to walk out of there. We got out of there like it was midnight
Okay.
by the time we got out. And then I'm in my head, I'm thinking, well, okay, I need my Jeep for going back to work. So how are we going to get our Jeeps out? And I was like, okay, we're going to go buy chainsaws. But I mean, I never used a chainsaw before. So this is going to take me 3 days to get out of here. Like trees were like 5, 6, 7 feet high, blocking the trail.
Okay.
But luckily, the Jeep community is definitely a big community here in Ottawa. And then I think we had about 30 people come back the next morning, like at 7 a.m. We had like 30 people, probably about 6, 7 chainsaws, and guys were just cutting trees, and the other guys without chainsaws were just clearing the trail.
That's
Like,
amazing. Got to get the Jeeps out of there, right?
oh yeah, we had to get. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to leave my Jeep here overnight because what if somebody comes to steal it? And I'm thinking like nobody was going in there.
Yeah, nobody's going in. Nobody's getting out anyways, right?
Nobody's going in. Nobody's going out.
Yeah. I noticed
Yeah,
one thing I appreciate about you is you do a lot of stuff online. I always thought you were kind of at the cutting edge in terms of real estate agents in the area because you've been doing online stuff for a while now.
yeah,
Um,
very very long time.
and is it something you really love doing? Is it something necessity or what's it like?
Well, it's a bit of a necessity, but for me, it's a necessity. But I really enjoy doing the online marketing. It's
Mhm.
just, I'm always, especially this year, I'm kind of throwing myself back into my YouTube channel. So we're really kind of pushing that out. I'm not sure if you've seen my hide and seek videos when
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a lot of
I am
fun as
streaming.
opposed to just being, typical, just showing you around the house and all that. It's fun. So yeah, it's very entertaining. So definitely it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's something different. And we still do the professional photography, professional
So
video and everything, but we also have fun with it. We work 7 days a week. There's no real day off. So we got to have a little bit of fun, and it's entertaining. And I think people see a different side of us that
yeah,
maybe they
yeah.
wouldn't see, always, prim and proper, and we have fun too. Like we're not
No,
boring.
it's very, very cool to see that aspect of home sales is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you is also what, in terms of you're looking your entire career, what is the oddest house you've ever sold?
I don't think it was an odd house. I think I've had a couple of, there was one year that everything was kind of like going weird. We ended up finding all of our clients passed away in their house
Oh, no,
as we're trying to sell it.
that's terrible.
So
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's
mm,
terrible.
because, we received an offer on the weekend, and it was just like, okay, well, and I was dealing with another agent on my team, and she wasn't kind of crazy about going there on a Saturday night. I said, just give him a call, tell him we have an offer, and go see him on Sunday morning. So she went back, knocked on the door, no answer. So we ended up going back on the Monday. We opened the door because lockbox on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
door. The radio is blaring, the coffee pot is on, and I kind of go up the stairs, and there he is. He had lying in
Oh
his
my
bed.
goodness, you found him.
Yeah, we
Oh
found him,
wow,
and
wow. Okay.
he'd had a heart attack. We found out a couple of days later.
Oh my
But
goodness.
then, we called 911, and it's like, we found our client, passed away. We think he's dead. Goes, well, can you go touch him? Make sure he's dead. I was like, no,
I'd rather not. That's okay.
I'd rather not. What if he wakes up? So,
Would been a great opportunity for a video. You should have whipped out
yeah,
the cell phone.
yeah, it wasn't quick enough then.
So,
Yeah.
I want to do a little fun segment every week, like when I'm going to be interviewing somebody and all that. So it's going to be a segment called High Voltage Rapid Fire Questions. So I'm going to
Okay.
ask everybody 17 rapid fire questions just to get you
Well,
to know you a little bit better. You ready for
yep,
this?
sure.
Okay. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Had a boy. Your favorite movie?
Princess Diaries.
Oh, really? Okay. Summer or winter?
Oh, definitely summer.
Hopefully summer. Sweet or salty?
Salty.
What's your favorite color?
Red.
Like is cheap, right? Like my
Yeah, you should
pickup.
have figured that
So
out.
there you go. Country music or rock music?
Rock.
Rock music. Favorite musical artist then?
She's. This is gonna be odd, but it's Shania Twain.
There you go. Hockey or football?
Hockey.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Neither, but dogs.
Dogs, we get it too. Do you recommend? Do you have a book you'd recommend to read?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Well, that's a good one. Beer or wine?
Wine.
Here's an important one: iPhone or Android?
Come on. There's only one answer. It's an iPhone.
The favorite place you've ever visited?
South Africa.
Oh goodness, where'd you go in South Africa?
We went to Cape Town, Johannesburg, and we did 2 different safari resorts. Spectacular.
Interesting. That's cool. I'll have to talk to you about that soon. I'd love.
Yes.
That's a place I'd love to visit. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
And what's your pet peeve?
Pet peeve. I just
Head stuck in the wood with your teeth.
People that don't answer their phones.
I'm trying to reach them. Yeah. So does pineapple belong on pizza?
No.
I didn't think so either. Well, if just knowing yourself now, what's your best trait?
My best trait. I think I would say my patience.
That's good. It's important in the business you're in.
Just a little.
That actually, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this being the first podcast in a lot. So you've been great. Thank you for doing this with me. I really, really appreciate it. How can people reach you? Where can people find you?
My website, jeanricher.com. You can also find me on YouTube. Same thing. Just Google my name and I can be found pretty much anywhere. Instagram, Facebook, even on TikTok. I don't dance, but I'm on there. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Just Google my name and you'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere.
And for everybody watching this, I will put all Jean's links in the description down below. Jean Richer, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It's always nice to catch up and talk about real estate and backup generators too.
It's awesome. Let's do it again sometime. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.